regardless of a very short-term P&L that some company, hedge fund person, including myself, let me throw me in that basket too, might be able to show you that is 300% gains or whatever. The vast majority of the time over the course of 10, 20, 30, and 40 years, and most of you guys do not want today money, you want tomorrow money as well. The vast majority of the time, 98% of people do not beat that, 10 to 15%, 9 to 15% per year. Of the very few percentage of people who do and can, remember Warren Buffett is above it, they only beat it by it's a very small fraction of them who don't blow their money, okay? Then you have this, and then we're dividing out all these percentages over and over again, but then you have this other small percentage who's now beating that, and the percentage in which they're beating that over the course of time, okay? Over the course of time is still only by a few percent. So if we're taking those numbers, and let's assume that we're the exception, that all 20 people in this room are the God-given exception that just makes us great. I speak that into existence. I believe it. Heck yes, all the way, okay? If we can recognize that, remember, somebody can show you, gosh, now I'm gonna go annotate. I promised this guy I'm gonna do this, hold on. But I gotta do this first. So somebody can show you this 300% gain and even 1,000% gain, okay? And that might have been like a 50K account, maybe it's theirs, okay? Maybe this was a $1,000 account. Wow, please forgive my writing. What they're not showing you in all of these years of history, okay? And I don't care the drawdown, I don't care the other stuff, is that this one had a negative 100% of maybe 100K, okay? This one had a negative 90% of we'll say 500K, okay? There's other factors here. So even if this 500K, okay, looks to be 100% gain, okay, and this is our 3K account, and this is our whatever, and let's say this is all personal funds and not prop firm funds. By the time you take all of these numbers and all of these numbers and average them out, you're gonna, because remember, these ones are not the ones you're seeing on YouTube. Even with the people, oh, let me show you the P&L. This is a very snapshot in a window of time. It's so social media, we know that, right? This is still only going to equal, it's not that much. And the people who truly beat that are so rare and so few and far between. Because even my P&L, I can show some P&Ls that are upward of here and upward of here, and they're amazing. But as soon as I factor in these other things, because I have had 100K losses to 100%, 90K losses at 300K, okay, 300K, 90, 300, something, it was a little, almost 400, 90% of the account gone, okay, 100% of the account gone. This is included. So this is the part we show on social media, but if you factor in these, this actually equals maybe 20%, 90% in the course of however many years. There's more factors. I don't know how else to teach or preach this, but there are other factors that are just never discussed enough that I think need to be considered when you see some of these statements. Because I can show you my one perfect statement that I only take 5 trades on here and there. That's a perfect statement. And I've even got a track record, this 5 years on it or whatever. But that is not encompassing the 50 other accounts, funds, and things that I've done that are win, lose, and draw, right? So just something to consider. Our goal, if we're getting 10% a month, 5% a month, okay, 5% a month, 20% a month on our aggressive stuff, we stick with this for a couple of years. You are not only financially free, but you're on the 0.000000001% of the world. Okay, that's how big of a deal this is. Huge deal. So
it's self-capping, because you compound enough, you're going to get to a size where you can't execute your trades anymore. So, these funds that are grinding out smaller gains are there, grinding out their smaller gains because they're managing so much money, they can't move it fast enough.
True.
It's Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger problem. They start easing money into something well in advance and expecting it to play out over years because they're moving so much money. Used to trade options much faster, but he got to a size where he had to trade value.
Crazy to think about. I didn't plan on that conversation today. It just kind of started spewing from me. But anybody have any comments on that? Because I think that really needs to be factored in. You guys are looking at your P&Ls, and if we can, I want to have your heads in the clouds. I want to promote that you can have your dream car, even if it is the Lambo. Like I want to do that. I want to be that voice of light, okay? But I also want people to look at this with their feet on the ground, because the sooner they do that, the sooner they're going to be able to withdraw those $100, and then it's $5, and then it's $1,000, and then it's a few $1,000s a month, and then it's, hey, I can make $20,000 a month, $10,000 a month. But so many people only see the 10, the 20, the big car and this stuff. They're not looking at the big picture. If you actually took every blown account, and some of you guys can include your prop firms in this, every blown account, and you have to deduct the 100%, okay? That's a negative 100% of this amount. And then you take all of those amounts and all of these amounts, okay? Because 50% gain on your $1,000 account, right? 50% gain, or let's go payouts, you know, a $5,000 payout on this, your cash in hand from what you've spent, okay, and what you have earned, that's your actual P&L. And not enough people are sharing that, because then you take starting points, okay? Starting points like maybe Scott, he's a secret billionaire. You guys don't even know this. Wink, wink. I'm just play along for a sec.
Yeah, I saw him in Forbes magazine once.
Yeah, he's a secret billionaire. So he buys 25 $250,000 prop firms a week, whereas you buy one, right? Scott, the secret millionaire, he puts $50,000 and $500,000 into his personal account. That's his starting point. So his losses are big. When he does the 100% loss, it's big, but his gains are big and his access is bigger, right? These are all factors that need to be kind of accounted for. It's your cash in hand that you have personally invested, even in however you want to calculate that for your prop firms, and your cash in hand that you have personally withdrawn and or gain unrealized gains, okay? That's your P&L. And everything else falls away, melts away. Just something to think about, because it's easy. Again, one of the people who are doing the Apex, they're doing 10 challenges, 10 trades, they take one direction, or 10 accounts, they take one direction, 10 accounts take another direction. I know some people who have gotten literally some pretty fat payouts just weeding them down like that. It's crazy, but it works. It's the same thing as phishing schemes. You know, it works. It's crazy, but you'd be surprised. Again, if you track that math, the actual cash to the actual unrealized gains and or cash in hand, so your withdrawals, that's your P&L. And that is over all of the accounts, including the lost ones. So sorry, it just came to me. I had to talk about it. Does anybody have anything on that? Because I think it's huge. Huge, huge. Very, very huge. And then we'll talk about this EA, not EAs, but moving
And to
averages.
be clear, I've been seen on Forbes magazine, not in Forbes magazine.
Fair. Very fair. Sorry to throw you under the bus. I knew you would be okay with that, Scott.
Oh, fine.
Yeah. It just, there's so much here. I want to promote financial freedom. I want to promote FU money. I want to promote, and FU money doesn't mean be a jerk. It just means you have the rights to make all the decisions you make. I'm here today because my decision is to see if I can't help a few more people become financially independent, because I love working with people, because I love trading, I love investing, and I kind of love business. I know it makes me a dork, but I just love business. I always did. And that's my sharky side. But
in retrospect, Scott could be a billionaire, because if he was a billionaire, or if he is a billionaire, his lifestyle probably would be the same that it is right now.
And that's why he would be a billionaire.
Exactly.
True. I have not made it to billionaire status, guys. My youngest son says, oh, you're going to be there, which is sweet of him. But we're still working at it. But okay, that's what we've got on that. Please think about that stuff, guys. I think it's worthwhile. I think it's important that we factor that in when we're looking at our goals. Because if we're starting with a more practical level of goals, I think when we reach these targets, it's not as depressing. It's not as, oh my gosh, I'm a failure. It's not as all-encompassing of I can't succeed. You realize, wait, big picture, you are succeeding. Here's how you're succeeding. I just think that's important.
So I guess we can generate a conversation based off of everything that you just said, because that's very good information that you said, Jenny. You say it often in different ways on, in each class, hoping that like some people catch those few nitbits that you give. But perfect example of that too is that with the Top Step, for example, with that being, all the results being shown on a regular basis, because they try to promote the traders who are doing well, the live traders or people who are getting XFAs. But if you start to notice, like one of my favorite segments on that is the shoulder tap, and then you get some people who are executing their trades well, and then you see some of the people who got lucky and they happen to like over leverage on a NAS or whatever ES, and it worked into their favor. But people actually go live, and then they end up going bust, so they change the way that they're managing their account from how they've done their XFAs, as opposed to the ones that maybe a little bit more long term. Sometimes they may not have those exorbitant like $10,000, $20,000, $40,000 days, but you see 2,000, 3,000 on a regular basis, and they're keeping their live accounts. So I think that's a good point that you brought up. And also to get your perspective on it, what would you recommend for, I guess, different techniques you would recommend for people if they're trying to pass their account and then leading into passing their account, and then them getting their XFA or whatever they get from whichever platform that they're doing? I think going towards what you're talking about with just the percentages and just, compounding that over time. And obviously, as you grow more equity in the account, your trade size is obviously going to grow, and then your exposure is less, but you're just trading more and you're gaining more. That's why the saying of, just you trade to do the process of trading, and then the money will follow. That's usually a common saying. And I think that's sort of another way of saying all of what you just said, Jenny.
Jonathan, you asked a question in there. I think my answer to your question is your answer. Remember a while ago when you said that if you trade the account like your drawdown limit, I think that is the answer. I wish people would do that. And you said that. Like, I'm 99.99% sure you get 1,000% credit for that, because if people
Yes,
would,
I remember you did.
yeah, my answer is your answer. So you might see the 50K account, you might see the $250,000 account. So whether or not you're in your practice or your live or what have you, too many people are like, hey, I'm going to pass this quicker, I'm going to pay a passing service to pass this. That does not help you get paid. Right? It doesn't matter the speed in which you pass it. There's some people who took a month to pass it, and that's fine. They're getting free money. Who cares? Well, not free, but they're getting funded from somewhere else, other people's money, which is awesome. So I think the speed in which you're trying to pass your challenge is a big problem. I think the people trying to look at it like it's 50K and they see the big amount versus they see their drawdown limit, which I think is something Top Step does good at. Because when you pass your first challenge, you have a $2,000 account, right? Or a $3,000 account, right? Regardless of whether you passed it with $5,000 or what have you, this is the capital you have. You don't see 50K anymore. You see your balance is what you see now, which I think is incredibly helpful. I can't say that other people do that. I don't have a lot of other experience. But number one is trade your account like you do your drawdown limit. So you're not trading 50K, you're trading 2K or 3K, whatever your drawdown limit is. And that is it.